remembers. I feel like he remembers something. He was lying about it. But yeah, what do y'all think Drew remembers? Also, him and Willow hard headed. Alexa told Willow that she's not getting on the stand, and she said she is. I said she want to get up there so bad. Let her get up there. Anna over here doing yoga and stuff. Look, when they first showed her with her eyes closed, I was like, okay, they got her tied up. I said they been torturing her and everything. She on the floor and stuff on this mat. I said she doing yoga. I said what the world going on around here? They showed on the promo. What was it yesterday? Yesterday showed on the promo where somebody's supposed to be walking in. They didn't reveal the face yet, so I don't know who it's gonna be. But yeah, she over here on the floor doing yoga and stuff. I said, what the world going on? Marco basically threatened Britt. I said, Britt still won't tell the truth. I said, no matter what, she won't tell the truth. I said, this man don't show her repeatedly that he can be trusted. If she open her doggone mouth and tell everything that she knows, that could help a lot. That could help a lot. Brandon trying to use Charlotte. Turner said that she's only playing Sunny. Valentine has Carly leave Charlotte a key with a ribbon. And the last thing is that Mac is back. But hey, y'all. Welcome back to another review with lchessica for General Hospital. December the 9th, 2025. First things first, let me know y'all thoughts on this episode down below. What y'all think? That y'all like the episode? Okay. So they said on tomorrow's episode, somebody's supposed to get arrested. And what did they say? They said, I think they showed Dante, Nathan, and Turner looking at something, and they was like, is that who I think it is? And I was like, wait a minute, now what they got? I said, could they say they supposed to be getting the footage at Curtis' place, didn't they? Ain't that what they said? I said, do y'all think that Curtis gonna get arrested? Well, yeah, I said, all right now, by Friday, we should know. Hold on, y'all. Hold on, y'all. I said, okay now. I said, by Friday, we should know, y'all. Maybe before Friday, because tomorrow's Wednesday, isn't it? Hold on, y'all. I gotta go. Hold on, I gotta mute this. Let me find this remote control. Okay, there we go. I muted it because it was playing music. Okay, now, where did we stop it? I think I was saying how Friday we should know exactly who shot Drew. But yeah, he said on today's episode that he remembers something, and then it's like he tried to lie to cover it up. He's like, I thought I had something, but no. I said maybe he remembered Kai and Trina's voice. Maybe that's what he remembered. But yeah, I said hopefully by Friday we know. But okay, on today's new episode, we're gonna start with Britt and Jason. So Jason's still over here looking out for her, giving her water and stuff, and she claims she don't remember nothing. But we learned on this episode that she actually remembered everything, including the fact that she wanted Jason to kiss her. And I said, see, your whole lying tale. I said, if you and another thing before I forget, Marco revealed that he knew what Britt, or they knew what Britt had been doing, how she got drunk and all this other stuff. I said, now, Sonny, y'all need to take notes, because why y'all ain't watching Sitwell? Why y'all ain't watching Marco? Y'all would know that Marco went to see Britt. I said, now why y'all ain't? I told y'all fake mobster want to be tails. Hold on. But yeah, Jason was still looking out for Britt. Drew wanted the meeting to be private because Marco was there as well as Suzanne. Suzanne wanted to help and be a buffer between Alexis and Drew. The good that did, because he still act like he running the show. The good. But yeah, I think the last thing with Alexis then was her tell Willow saying that she was getting on the stand. Lulu, Nathan, Dante, Charlotte. So Dante stopped by. Charlotte was asking if they found, well, Lulu and Charlotte wanted to know about Valentine. And that's when he was like, they didn't find him or whatever. And Charlotte just hard headed. I said, do y'all think that key and that ribbon actually mean what Valentine said? Or do y'all think it means something else, like meet me somewhere or something like that? But yeah, what else happened with them? Lulu was talking to Dante about Valentine and everything. And then I think they also was talking about Dalton disappearing. And they was talking about how Sonny could have been the one to make him disappear. I said, no, I understand. I said, they got more faith than Sonny got faith than Sonny. Everybody in town talking about, so Sonny, it's possible that Sonny did it. Turner think that Sonny did it. Molly think that it could have been possible. Even Mac back talking about some, it is possible because, you know, Dalton crossed his family member. Hold on, y'all. But yeah, Lula asked Dante if he found Valentine. Valentine and Carly. Valentine want Carly help. First, he wanted her to take a message to Anna, and that's when she was like, Anna's out of town for the WSB. And I was like, no, didn't the WSB? I was like, this not making sense. Or maybe I just don't pay attention enough. Then they said that the WSB had parted ways with her because she was a double agent or something. They said, why would they ask her to go on assignment if she no longer worked for them? I said, nobody's questioning this. Well, yeah, so maybe I just don't pay attention though. Cause the last I remember, they had did this big thing where she was forced to retire and everything, or something like that. But yeah, I was like, what the word going on? But yeah, where do we stop it? Where do we stop it? Oh, she told that she was going on assignment. So that's when he was like, okay, I need you to do something else for me. He got a key. He put a ribbon on it. He said the blue one meant for Charlotte to stay put. He's okay, and the red one meant something about they finna go. I think that what they I might be lying, I don't know. They finna go. But yeah, so Carly went. I was like, I didn't see her put that key down. I was waiting on her to put it down when Lulu went to open the door. I was like, she could have hid it somewhere, but she put it on the porch. She put it on the porch and Charlotte found it and she was looking at stuff. So I was like, what it mean? What it mean now? Hold on. But yeah, Carly ends up telling Valentine that he can stay in the attic. And I said, they're gonna get caught. I said, they're gonna get caught some type of way. They are going to get caught. Carly and Valentine, we talked about that. Turner and Mac. Mac was back. Turner ends up asking him if Sonny could have murdered Dawson to protect Rocco. He's like, yeah, he absolutely could. There's plenty of people who don't cross Sonny and his family that, you know, nobody know where they at no more. And I said, that's the old Sonny. Sonny running around here thinking about his family feeling this stuff now. I said, that's the old Sonny. Sonny don't do nothing now. I said, no. I said, we ain't seen nothing lately. But yeah, that's what they was talking about. Mac, might as well get Mac and Emma out the way. Emma ends up telling Mac that she heard from her grandmama or whatever. She left her voicemail. I said, now how she left her a voicemail? I was thinking she was gonna say she left a text message or something like that. And that's when they had showed her later in the episode, and she on the doggone floor doing some doggone yoga. But yeah, I think Mac was talking to Emma about if the kids feel some type of way about him, you know, working and all this other stuff versus being at home with them. And she was just trying to, you know, encourage him and all this other extra stuff. But yeah, when they showed Mac, I said, Mac back. I said, yay. I said, Mac is back. Sonny and Laura. So Laura ends up telling Sonny how she regrets calling him. And Sonny ends up asking if Stilwell had photos of Jason. And I said, I wanted to know the same thing. I said, did he stick around or what? But yeah, I said, it was so Jason, look, he gonna get blackmailed next. I said, everybody. I said, Stilwell proven to be a better monster than Sonny so far. What else? Sonny tells Laura that Stilwell has a weapon with her DNA all over. She's like, what? Or whatever. She's shocked. So they just talking about Stilwell and what he wanted. And he kept trying to get her to tell what he said and everything. She was just telling him, and Sonny was like, he needs time to make a plan so they could figure out how to take him down. They need to figure out. And then Jason showed up out of nowhere, and he was saying the same thing about they need to play along for the time being until they actually figure out what's going on. That's why I said if Britt tells Jason, Jason could tell Laura and Sonny, and they could know, okay, this is what's going on. This is exactly what's going on. And another thing, do y'all think that Brennan is involved in Anna's disappearance? Because why is he not questioning it? And he worked for the WSB, don't he? Don't he work for the WSB? So wouldn't he know? I was like, he got to be partnered with Sewell or something like it. I don't know. I really don't know. He already said how he want the stuff for himself. But I was like, I think it's more to this story. I might be wrong. We shall see. What else? Excuse me. Like I said, Jason Neal was just talking about how they need to buy some time so they can come up with a plan and figure out what it is that Sewell really got going on, what his organization is really about. Also, they need to figure out that he was the one behind Maxie collapsing on stage, collapsing on the TV and stuff like that too. It's like, yeah, exactly. Then Marco, I said, Marco, you going down right with your dad at Sewell Jr. want to threaten people. I said, Britt, now if it wasn't enough for the man done got shot and murdered in front of you and you still over here thinking you bigger than the program, as they say. But yeah, we got to go back to her. We got to go, wait. Yeah, we got to go back to her and Marco. He showed up. He was like, you got to see what I want you to come in. He got a new lab set up for you and everything. And she was like, I got to work. He was like, no, you don't. And she's like, what, do you keep tabs on me? He's like, yeah, of course we are. After what you pulled at the, what do they call that place? I keep forgetting. I be getting the 5 poppies and the brown dog or whatever. I be getting mixed up. Hold on. There you go. Okay. I be getting mixed up or whatever. But he revealed that they knew and they keeping tabs on her. I said, Sonny, you need to take notes. Cause you should not only keep tabs on Sidwell, but you should keep tabs on Marco. Cause then y'all would know that Marco went to Brits. Hopefully they are. And then Jason can question her. Cause he been studying trying to question her and it ain't work. She was like, I don't even think I fully talked about Brit and Jason. Cause I don't even talk about how he was telling her what happened and stuff like that, and he gave her medication, and she was like, "Oh, well, I'm gonna assume that you want to know where it came from and all this other stuff." He's like, "He do, but he gonna wait and give her time." I said, "She done had enough time now, cause you don't say her how many times, and that's not even including the before she fake died. That's not even including then." I said, "Now he always want to sit up here and be save somebody and patient and stuff. This ain't the time to be patient. See, we're over here making moves that y'all ain't making. Question her." Get it out of her. The fact that now Marco don't came and threatened her, told her that basically you seen what happened to Dalton, our operation this and I said, thought you wasn't involved. I'm confused now. I thought you wasn't involved. What's going on? You said you didn't want no parts in it. I said, I think Luke is gonna end up walking in on something or saying something or something like that. And then that's when they're gonna try to take him up out of there or Sidwell is. Hold on. Well, yeah, so he talking about some his operation or they operation. I said, I thought you didn't want no parts of that. Hold on. There you go. The screen completely blanked out. What else? Look, this review all over the place. I supposed to stick to the script. Let's see. Let's see. You talked about Sonny and Laura. I forgot to write down Jason. Molly and Turner was talking about Sonny and if he could have made Dalton disappear. Well, first, Molly asked if Turner would be willing to drop the charges against Rocco. And she's like, yeah, she didn't try to do that, or she didn't want to charge him for something he didn't do. But then they started talking about whether or not Sonny could have murdered Dalton and making him pay, and how she been playing him this whole time or whatever, and all this other stuff about how she been playing him and flirting and stuff like that. And Molly was like, she started to get worried and stuff because she know this something going on. I said, look, they both trying to play each other because Sonny trying to play her too. That's why I said on one video, I was like, I don't know. I said, I don't know. I can't tell if they both playing each other or they into each other, just playing themselves. We shall see. We shall see, because that's exactly what she told Molly. She was using him. I said, well, didn't he already say, matter of fact, Sonny did say that he was using her too, didn't he? But yeah, I was like, we talked about MMA. Lulu and Brandon, what's that? Y'all heard that? I guess it was somebody outside. Lulu and Brandon stopped by because he wanted to see Charlotte. Lulu was like, no, Charlotte just popped up. And she was like, she okay with doing it and stuff like that. So he wanted to know if Valentine has gotten in contact with her or would he. She was like, no, they took my phone. And he was like, Valentine's too smart to use the phone. Anyway, is there any other way? And Charlotte was looking around. I said, don't you tell about that ribbon key thing. But yeah, that's when Lulu interfered, told Charlotte to go to her room. And that's when she wanted to go outside. So she went outside. She found the key that Carly left. I said, Lulu gonna be highly upset at Carly. I said, they just started really, since Lulu been back, been cool again. I said, well, they about to be uncool again. They about to be back into it. What else? Let's see. That's when Brandon kept making it a point. He kept making it a point to say how people would use Valentine. I mean, not use Valentine. People would use Charlotte to get to Valentine. I said, people like you. So far, we ain't seen nobody else trying to get to Valentine except you. I said, you mean you, right? And Lulu kept making her face. I said, she gonna let her. She gonna let her. I said, yeah. I said, watch. But what else? Let's see. Marco Britt, we already talked about that. About how he told her she got to be at the new lab that Sewell found. I said, Britt, the fact that he just came in here and threatened you and told you seen what happened to the last guy. You see what happened to the last, what they said on that show, on that movie? You know what happened to the last security guards. You don't even know what happened to the last security guard. And the last thing they showed was Anna over here on the floor doing doggone yoga. Now, I don't know if that's what she was actually doing, but she looked like she was meditating to me. But that's it, y'all. Hold on. That's it. That's all. Let me know y'all thoughts on this episode down below. Stay tuned for the next review. Until next time, deuces. Have a great rest of the day and be safe.